stick around. Come through and dig the sound of the fly brown 6060 cycle. Who throws hits around? Bound to go through platinum.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Wind Down with Kev. Oh my God, today will be different. Always I gotta woosah, calm myself down, start with an attitude of gratitude. Thank you for tuning in today. Whether you're watching us live on Facebook, IG, or YouTube, thank you. Special thanks to all of you that have already hit that subscribe button. You are appreciated. If you haven't done so, you're going to want to during or right after this podcast so we can keep great content like this coming to you. And big shout out, big thanks to our sponsor, B-File Systems, bfilesystems.com, for all my insurance agents in the audience. If you're looking to grow your agency, improve your retention, write more new business, check out B-File Systems right now. Thank me later. All right, let's get into today. We are going to pivot. We're not talking insurance. We're not talking AI. We are talking my favorite social subjects. We are talking about a little B-ball, but not generally. We're talking very specifically about my favorite team that's headed to the finals. Show some love in the comments for my beloved New York Knicks. I don't know any better way to say it, but we are here. But you're not listening to a monologue by me. Today, I'm joined by the best special guest I could ever have. Join me in this conversation. My firstborn, my namesake, my son, Kevin Spann II. And be nice to him, people, because I got to tell you right off the bat, he is not a Knicks fan, but I need your help. Let's try to convert him during the podcast. So before we go deep into basketball, family first in this order. How's my daughter-in-law and how are my grandchildren?
They're good. This is a very nice break from paternity leave right now. I've been Mr. Mom, a lot of Pampers, a lot of bibs, a lot of laundry, a lot of sleep apnea and sleep deprivation. So this is a nice break from my day-to-day, which is 15 Pampers a day. I love it.
I haven't seen my grandbabies in a week. I was there, had breakfast with you last week. Baby Jordan, beautiful, King Caleb. You will see Caleb soon doing commercials for the insurance agency because he knows way more about cars and trucks than I've ever known. And shout out to my daughter-in-law, Mary. Whenever you see my sneaker game, that's not me. That's my daughter-in-law. She picks out the stuff I want. I get to rock it. She allows me to go all the way back in my childhood and feel cool again. But ladies and gentlemen, this guy right here, my firstborn, who one of the reasons he's not a Knicks fan is because he's seen me suffer. So let's go for it. Why aren't you a Knicks fan? How are you feeling while the whole city is going crazy? What's holding you back from the bandwagon?
I could think of a nice connective triangle moment. The first one is you moving the family from New York to Chicago in 1990 and me watching the rise of Michael Jordan.
Yes.
And for me as a kid, 6, 7, 8 years old, Mike takes a break, comes back. He wins again when I'm 10, 11, 12 years old. So I watch a guy win 6 rings in 8 years. And he has to go through your Knicks every single year. So to help people understand, living in Chicago, North Chicago specifically, but also playing AAU at the time on the west side and south side of Chicago and the drives we take, my dad wearing Knicks paraphernalia in Chicago got us into multiple fights at parks, at gyms. He was nuts. And just this moment is why I couldn't be a Knicks fan. It's the 1994 Eastern Conference Finals. Pat Ewing catches the ball from the sideline, has a wide open drive to the basket. Pat Ewing smokes a layup. The Pacers go on to play Hakeem Olajuwon, who went back-to-back. And the neighbor across the street,
yes.
Lori Bray's husband, John. Right, John, who was no way shy of 25 beers that day, ran across the street. Give me my money, mother father. Give me my money. So watching you in your orange under T-shirt with an extra medium John Starks jersey, who went 0 of 9 during that game, with the extra medium shorts, and watching you hand over, my Christmas money, my lunch money, my Michael Jordan sneaker money. Fast forward 35 years. This was last year.
Yes.
The Knicks are in the Eastern Conference Finals versus the playoffs.
Ah.
I'm feeling really good about this team. I took you down to the Final Four in 2018.
Yes.
And we got a chance to watch Villanova win a championship.
Yes.
And that was a great moment because you were with 70,000 people.
Yes.
And we watched Jalen and Mikhail and Josh put on.
Yes.
And these guys are now wearing Knicks jerseys. And I felt confident from that moment. I took the trash out when the Knicks had a 17-point lead with 4 minutes left.
Pain.
And as I'm taking the trash out, you know, I'm sitting on a step. Father's Day is a couple weeks out.
Yes.
And I said it would be nothing great for me in my 40 years to get you in the building with one of your good friends, D-Matt. And I was looking up ticket prices. The cheapest nosebleed was like $1,200.
Yes.
I was going to put that on 4 credit cards. $300 apiece, get the points from everybody. As I'm looking at it and I'm zooming in the seat to get you at the half court line, Mary texts me, my wife texts me, you might want to come back in the house. The Pacers just tied the game up. I said, there's no way. We're up 17 with 3:58 left. I get back in the house, we're in overtime, and Halliburton takes the shot of shots, and he looks at Reggie and
Yes.
gives him the choke.
Yes.
And in that moment, I was 10 years old and 40 years old all over again, and I also knew the Knicks couldn't recover. So for me, I can't be a Knicks fan due to the emotional trauma my entire life of them letting everybody down every chance they get. So
Oh my God.
That's
Oh
my
my
story.
God.
I'm taking to it. I saw a guy in my childhood win 6 and 8. I've watched them lose all 40 years of my life plus another 13 before I was born because they haven't won since '73.
All right. So you're saying there's a chance. There's a chance when we you're saying there's a chance when we do what we're supposed to do these next couple of weeks, we can revisit the conversation.
Absolutely.
You're
Absolutely.
saying
But
there's
if
a
they
chance.
don't, I have something I think this is very cathartic for me.
Okay.
You know, I have to share why. Do you know what you nicknamed me growing up as a kid?
Oh my God, yes. So you know this. Anybody that's around the family knows that I don't call Kevin Kevin. I call him Doc. And the reason I named him Doc, up until a few days ago, he thought it was after Doc Rivers, who had a cup of coffee with the Knicks. I'm like, no, it's from a line in the Sugar Hill Gang song, Rapper's Delight, where he goes, I'm the C-A-S, the A-N-O-B-A, and I go by the name of the doctor of the Knicks, and these reasons I tell you why. So you finish the story. You go listen to it.
Yeah,
You chat
yeah,
with me
yeah.
and tell me you couldn't find it.
You once the Knicks won the Eastern Conference Finals, I said this guy's gonna want me on a pod to talk about his addiction. You were in the building in Game 2. You posted all your pictures.
Yes.
Plenty of content for me to share with my audience how much of a Knicks fan you are, which is juxtaposed with me. But I found some pictures in prep for this pod. And I saw a pic of you with a Knicks hat. It had to be like 1988, 1989. So this is like more than 35 plus years ago. It's
Yes.
more like 37 years ago. And just how you and your friends would get together and watch those games, and they'd let you guys down every single time. And so in thinking of that, I said, man, so now my friends growing up that heard, Doc, take the trash out. Doc, get the groceries. Doc, whatever. Like, why did your dad call you that? And at 40 years old to realize that the reason you called me that has nothing to do with the lyrics of Doc Rivers is very healing for me. I get a fresh start. I don't have to be Doc anymore.
Oh my God.
More importantly, the championships you've been around. I saw you with the Larry O'Brien.
Yes.
And so when you think about the levels of basketball, we grew up in Chicago. All-State relocated you. Your office building was next door to the Chicago Bulls practice facility.
Lake Cook Road, Deerfield, absolutely.
We carpooled back then.
Yes, we only had one car. We had to.
The idea of multiple TVs and multiple cars didn't exist early in my childhood. So my mom would drop my dad off at his All-State office, Deerfield, Illinois, and then we go to Dunkin' Donuts and we wait for the Bulls to come to practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd see B.J. Armstrong, I'd see Horace Grant, I saw Scotty, and we'd always wait for Michael. And whenever Michael came, he'd whip around in that Ferrari with the cigar and the Zuba sweatpants. Got the golf gloves on.
Yes.
Probably just did 36 holes.
Yes.
And I ended up playing. I was a little older than his kids, but they played for the same program, Lake Forest Rising Star. So growing up and watching Mike deliver that pain, that actually inspired my style of play. Right.
Yes.
And I always said, man, if I could make somebody feel the way the Knicks make my dad feel, I could be a pretty good player. So after I owe a lot of the obsession in the game and the detail of Reggie's choke and Kobe's 60 piece and Steph Curry's 50 piece and Michael's double nickel. I got to study some of the best assassins in the world. Give you, deliberate pain consistently.
So let's talk about just Chicago for a second and your basketball acumen. Kevin is not just my son, not just the vice president of my All-State agency, but he's played this game at a very high level. You grew up learning, training to play in that environment where we lived in Chicago for all 6 championships, and I don't feel good about it because I did represent the Knicks as hard as I am today. But when a city wins like that, the way New Yorkers feel right now, Chicago felt that way for the whole time. So kids worked really hard in order to get on the court, and they would pretend to be the Bulls. So your journey from playing in our yard on the basketball court, not being good enough that the neighbor didn't want you to shoot in her yard because you couldn't keep the ball off the grass, all the way to every championship level, high school, college, undefeated, becoming the youngest coach in the country. You've played in probably every NBA arena. You played in several countries in the world, and you went on to become one of the youngest college coaches in the country. How much did that Bulls winning inspire you to become the player you became, and the person you became? Real quick, I got distracted. Did I tell you about B-File Systems and the Risk Assessment Calculator? I have implemented B-File Systems and the Risk Assessment Calculator automatically to contact renewals in my agency. And let me tell you what's happened. I've uncovered several P&C leads, a bunch of life insurance, and millions of dollars in assets for retirement. Don't delay. Click on the link below. Check out B-File Systems and the Risk Assessment Calculator. Thank me later.
I give a lot of that credit to Michael, because Michael had tapes back then. Space Jam was huge. When Michael left in '93, and it's funny to be of a certain age now because I have to argue with a lot of, young people and mid to young people. They call me Unc. And so I have to remember what I saw with Michael and constantly argue, is it Kobe? Is it LeBron? Is it Steph? Is it Wemby coming up now? And it's just like, I can't unsee what I saw with Michael, but just talk about the shoes.
Yes.
If we were able to afford a pair of sneakers, how many of my friends got beat up going to school for a pair of sneakers?
Yes.
Right? So we would have to put our Jordans in our book bag and wear our ugly shoes or our winter shoes or our tennis shoes, as they would call them. Nobody has that impact. Old ladies were getting robbed if they had on a pair of Jordan sneakers from church. We watched that. So, we didn't grow up on the best side of town, but I would say it created a mindset that no matter who the person was, I was just thinking about it. Yesterday was the 30th anniversary of Michael's revenge game against Penny and Shaq. Wow. So being a kid, Michael won 3. He took a break for a year and a half. The city was distraught. Like, we had nothing going on. Scotty tried, Tony Kukoc, but it wasn't. And when they said Michael was coming back, and he came out with the Space Jam patent leather breads, the sneakers. Mary's gotten you a couple in different flavors. That black, white, and red patent leather sneaker, what that represented at that time, the 72-10 year, where we win the most games and win the championship. His dad passing away and him battling that back. So Michael, for me, you kind of raised me not to make excuses. And then I think Ricky Bobby was one of the most cultural movies. If you ain't first, you're last. So I've been arguing the comfort of second place with people for 25 years. So this today gives me comfort to say, my childhood was watching my dad root for the Knicks with Patrick Ewing, who Michael beat in college. So there's already, that right there. But also Michael being branded with Spike Lee. And I'm a movie buff. I actually love movies more than basketball, which is rare.
1,000%.
And so to grow up and watching some of the best movies from your era, I mean, Do the Right Thing, He Got Game, Mo Better Blues, Malcolm X. So Spike and Michael collaborating, where my favorite director from your neck of the woods in New York is collaborating with Michael Jordan, not Pat Ewing. And they're making magic, and they made one of the biggest brands ever. So Michael was a big part of just my mindset when it came to winning. There wasn't like second place back then. If we won second place in Chicago, the coach threw the trophy away. Oh, he went. He threw the. You literally saw him.
Shout out to Coach Terry Head, T-Head. Y'all lost your championship before you won the first of your 2 national championships.
We lost a regional.
Lost a regional to a team, Illinois Rockers.
Yeah.
And T-Head is back there in the locker room. I played
Rockland County.
Rockers.
Yeah,
Rockers.
the Rockers? Okay.
Rockers. Yeah, the
Something,
Rockers. And T-Head is sitting back there. I'm like, T-Head, you got to say like a post-game speech to the kids. Now, full disclosure, Kev Sr. has never played formal basketball on any level. I'm the kid that tried out for the team every year, that ran to the gym to see if my name was up on the locker room. All of my association and post-fandom knowledge comes from taking him to play with the best teams that I could. And they had an elite team, 4 Division I guards, which T had put that label on y'all in 7th grade. I didn't even know. But y'all lose a regional, which should have put you in the nationals. And I said, T-Head, you got all I know is business. You got to say something to the kids. And T-Head, between tears, said, y'all some bums. Why y'all play like some bums today? Why y'all play like
that's probably the biggest second adjustment, becoming a coach at such a young age. I took a break. I called you. I used to email my dad. So just so you guys know, the pictures we found talking about this podcast was in 8th grade, I won a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
And was able to get ranked nationally.
Mm-hmm.
You came to my middle school and told me that. I didn't even know what that meant.
Yes.
But you came to my middle school and you're banging on the window at the cafeteria. And my friend Quintel, shout out to my man
You're going to make
Quintel.
them think that I'm sick. What
no.
parent interrupts his kid in middle school to talk?
Basketball's your drug. Basketball's your drug. 2nd grade, my neighbor wouldn't let me play. 3rd grade, you signed me up. I was the worst kid on the team. 4th grade, you were my coach. 5th grade, I have a 6'9" cousin. Shout out to Eric Williams.
E-Dub.
2002 McDonald's All-American, Wake Forest ACC All-Star. So me and my cousin, who's 6'6" in 5th grade, I'm in 3rd grade, and we couldn't beat a girl. Right, so
much respect to you, Shay.
Yeah. So my first 3 years of elementary was like I can't be this bad. And by 6th grade, started to catch on. By 7th grade, got really, really good, and got invited to a lot of camps and to a lot of AAU teams. And by 8th grade, I was a starting point guard on a national championship team. So my head was like this big, and at that point, my teammates, Justin Sarasoli.
Beast.
If you guys find a highlight on YouTube with Justin Sarasoli, my teammate was going head to head with Sean Livingston.
Yes.
So we're talking about beating Livingston consistently.
Yes.
We play Andre Iguodala, played teams like that. Grew up next to D Brown, played for Illinois. So the network of who I had by 13, you could not tell that young man he wasn't going to go to DePaul. Shout out to Quentin Richardson and those boys, or Illinois University with D Brown and Deron Williams, and I was going to play for the Bulls. And you come home one day and you say, hey, I got a job and a raise in New York, and we're moving back to New York. And that's when you met the demon devil that you created. Because I've never been more mad in my life that I have to leave a regional and a national ranking. I'm definitely going to go play varsity. I was playing JV in 8th grade, so I was going to play varsity.
Let me use one of my timeouts here.
Yep.
Let's go back to 8th grade, because we're talking championship, we're talking trophies, and we're coming back to the Knicks. 8th grade, we're in Ohio at a tournament.
Yeah.
And you play against an Atlanta Celtic team as 4 future NBA players on it.
And a top 75.
Top 75. We are doing our layups in the layup line as a 8th grade team should do, and they're dunking and laughing at us.
I remember my height. I was 5'5" in the 7th grade because I played small fry too. Mm-hmm. My big man, Dave Evers, shout out to Big Dave. Dave was 5'8". My center was 5'8". I'm 5'5". Their point guard was Tony Douglas.
Yes. New York. Shout out Tony Douglas, former New York Knicks.
Former New York Knicks. I played Tony in middle school. I played Tony in college.
First game.
State. Outside of Tony, they had Travis Outlaw.
Yes.
Drafted lottery in high school for the Portland Trail Blazers. Randolph Morris played at Kentucky. Josh Smith. Shout out to Josh Smith. That's my guy. I bumped into Josh in L.A. through Danny Green. But me and Josh talked about that game because Justin Sarasoli used to play against Josh Smith. So Josh Smith, NBA dunk champion.
Yes.
And also a pivotal piece in that Houston Rockets Western Conference Finals run.
Yes.
What Josh did, and I think it was Corey Brewer.
Yes.
And Josh Smith. And lastly, Dwight Howard. So this is the starting 5 of this team. We have no idea who they are.
Yes.
We're from the worst hood in Chicago, and we're more scared of our coach, who's built like Danny DeVito in the Penguin.
Yes.
My coach is 5'9", 375. and his shirt never fit past his belly button, and we had to pick up full. We played defense like, the Pat Beverleys of the world. That was our style of play. We beat them by 25.
Yes.
And then we beat the Gauchos in the championship. We
Yes.
played the New York Gauchos. So shout out to the Knicks. Playing the Gauchos, they were the best team in the country.
The most legendary team.
And we beat I would say we beat them. I think we lost in the overtime.
Lost
we were up the whole game.
Lost in
double digits.
overtime to some major players. Yeah.
And by the time we moved to New York, the two biggest things you did for me that revived me, because I was on a dark path. I just couldn't believe we leave what we built in Chicago in a short amount of time. And I think that was probably the best version of my game.
Mm-hmm.
So people who met me after 14 got pieces of me, but that kid that went from like I couldn't get on a court to like they don't start JV practice without an 8th grader. Like that was a huge rise in my journey. But when we get to New York, you said, "Hey, I got you. Your coach from Chicago made a call, and you're on the Gauchos team." Mm-hmm. And so walking into the Gauchos, hoping that they remembered the work we gave them.
Oh, they did.
And I walked in, and they was like, everybody stopped talking, and that was reassuring for me. That gave me the confidence I needed to go, all right, you did, like what Hove say.
Yes.
Heard Mud saying they made Hove, had Hove say, okay, so make another
one.
So to move to New York at 14, I moved to New York in June after my 8th grade graduation. We drove 16 hours.
Yes.
And I wanted to play varsity at 14. That was my goal since 7th grade. So I had to play with the Gauchos, make a name for myself. They already had Ronald Ramon, Pittsburgh, who I played against, Sundiata Gaines, Georgia University, and then the NBA made the big shot in Utah, and then Russell Robinson, Kansas national champion with Mario Chalmers.
Yes.
To crack that and be the 4th guard under 6 feet, that was my new challenge. And then from there, going to the Long Island Panthers with your good friend.
Shout out to Gary Charles.
The godfather, the uncle Gary Charles, playing with the Long Island Panthers. That was like the second chance, and doing that with my best friend, Danny Green. So those two journeys of having to reestablish yourself after being dominant in Chicago, but then coming to a bigger market, I think I was ranked like top 35 in like 2 months. And so to make that varsity team my freshman year, and then really establish myself, but give a lot of grace to how Chicago raised me. Every Newsday article, every New York Times article, I always would give love to Chicago. That's another one. It's hard to be a New York Knicks fan, right? Like I would feel like a big perpetrator in that nothing of the Knicks were the ingredients to bake the cake of the portfolio I put together.
Well, true story be told. I'm a Knicks fan because I was born and raised here. They won championships. 1970, I'm 7 years old. 1973, I'm 10 years old, and it's a forever impression. Truthfully, from kindergarten to 8th grade, your formative years. You're born and raised in Chicago. You're more Chicago than New York, but you did what you had to do when you got here. Let's fast forward. Let's wrap the Gaucho story. You win a national championship, Illinois Heat. You go against Dwight Howard. The next year at age 15, you're playing with the New York Gauchos.
And we play Al Jefferson.
6'9", out of Mississippi.
Number one player in the country.
Number one player in the country. There's a second pro that was on that team, another big, 6'6", 6'7". But that was a monster. But at the end of the day, you put those 2 national championships together, you put on the belt.
Yeah. That
winning stayed with you through your last game. Your senior year, you go 32-0. Go in championship.
We get to the Elite Eight. It's my senior year at Post.
Yes.
So Long Island University, which is now converged with Long Island University in Brooklyn, but our school at the time, 2008, 2009. And why I see glimpses of greatness with this Knicks team. Played for Tim Kluse, who coached a lot of my friends. Rakeem Vanderpool, head coach of North Babylon. Rakeem won a Suffolk championship. Danny Green won a St. Mary's high school championship with Tim Kluse, and then he won a lot at Iona. And one thing Coach Kluse taught me was to put teams away. Don't make it close. If it's within double digits with 5 minutes left, you're allowing the refs to be a part of it. So my senior year of college, we averaged beating teams by 23 a game. And to the kind of player I was, to try to score that many points in a small amount of time, I only got half a game.
Yes.
Because we'd be up 55-30 at the half. So Dowling, NYT, Adelphi, Malloy, I had a harder time trying to get my 15 to 18 points in a half against my teammates. Nick Carter, shout out to Nick Carter. He's coaching with Team Tobias Harris, John Schmidt, Hall of Famer, Kenny Burke, Hall of Famer. I got 3 other guards that can get 20 and a half with me. So we're actually trying to outduel each other in the starting 5. And I'm like, Nick got 3 threes. I got to get 2 steals in a row to get on the board. Kenny got 2 pull-ups. John got 10 free throws, so we're competing versus each other.
Yes.
To get our numbers. That led us to the national championship, and for me, I think being a Knicks fan too, you guys have played with injuries.
Yes.
That was my first real injury. I had a herniated disc my senior year going into the NCAA tournament, and we're playing Bentley University, who was ranked all the years up into, but now we're ranked. We're number 2 in the country, and we're hosting the NCAA Sweet 16 at Post. Standalone arena. You were there. It seats 3,000. We had 5,500 people there standalone. And we're down 20 at the half. And it was your birthday.
Yes. Yes, that part.
It was your birthday. Then you turned 46, something like that. 2009 put you at 46. And I remember being down 20 at the half, and I just had epidural in my back. And that was one of those moments where you go to your childhood and you think about Michael Jordan's flu game. You know, you think about him holding on to Scotty, and we had a 6'4", 230-pound guy named Jason Westerall, who was like
brolic,
and he played pro in Russia for 12 years, so he was one of those. And I told my teammates, I'm like, I gotta fight this guy. Right?
Yeah,
like that's what I saw the Knicks try to do with Michael. So
right,
it's actually a Knicks
physical
strategy. Let me give him some context. I remember, you know, we kicked the coaches out the huddle, and I just told my teammates, like, I'm not going to take a shot second half. If I try to outscore this guy, they win. If I box him out, elbow him, three-quarter court him, front him, hit him in the knees, hit him in the shorts, step on his shoes, I have to take him completely out of the game, and ended up getting like 6 offensive rebounds in the second half. And we won the game. We came back from 20 and went to the Final Four, and we're playing the National Player of the Year. Josh Bostic, 6'7", 225, could play for the Knicks.
Yes.
And I got my last needle, my last epidural, and it was like, when I watch superhero movies and you see like a person go from like a quadriplegic, they get that special medicine, and now they're ready to go, like getting that needle. We lost in the Elite Eight game versus number 1 team in the country. We were up 12 at the half, and to go from being a defensive-minded guy and to win that Bentley game, knowing that that's the only thing we needed was stops and rebounds.
Yes.
Then going to a game more advanced, dropped 21-7.
Yeah.
21-7 versus National Player of the Year. He's still playing in Italy right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so that's what I needed for me, and for growing up in Chicago, being undersized, not having the most muscle, but having a reason to figure it out. When the why is bigger than the how, you'll always figure it out.
You'll always.
And that's what I see in this Knicks team. When they came back from 22 versus the Cavs,
yes,
I called you
the
next morning. Because, once again, we were down 93-71. I say we because we're the same name. You were down 93-71, and I turned the game off.
Yes.
And I'm about to go to bed so I can get the baby at 4 o'clock in the morning. And once again, my wife texts me, hey, the Knicks are down 3 with a minute left. I said, I'm not doing that to myself again. I'm not doing that to myself again. Absolutely not. Turned the TV off, went to bed, woke up, got my baby, put the recliner back, and I watched ESPN at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I saw the Knicks won by 10 in overtime.
Beautiful thing.
And I just said, they might have something special.
Yes.
Yesterday, you know, like I said, my best friend of close to 25 years, they convinced Danny Green to be a Knicks fan. I couldn't believe it. and I found the right picture with Forrest Gump and Lieutenant Dan. And I never thought I'd see the day that a guy who's been a Spur, a Raptor, a Laker, a Sixer, a Cavalier, 3-time champion, NBA Finals 3-point record, NBA playoff record. I never thought I'd see the day.
Never thought I'd see the day, Lieutenant Dan. Never thought I'd see the day.
Where Danny Green goes, the Knicks could get it done. So you guys got a lot of momentum, man. That Cavs game coming back from 22, that took something special. And I've been a part of those games where you're down 20, you come back, it changed the momentum. So there's nothing this team is not prepared for.
All right. So let's talk about moments. Shout out to Danny Green. I want to take you through some moments that will help temper the enthusiasm of me and my fellow Knicks fans. What it means to be close but no cigar. San Antonio versus Miami. You're in the arena.
Yeah.
What's the time score in the situation? What do they say? I'm sorry to put you here, but you're in the arena. They're telling the family and friends to go in the room.
Shout out to my guys. I got a group chat. James Mutlu, Ryan Alexander, Rashad Green, Danny Green's brother, and Mr. Green, Danny's dad. We're all down there in Miami.
How come Danny Sr.'s in the group chat? I'm not in the group chat.
No.
We'll pick that
he
up
was
later.
with us.
He was with you. Okay.
He was with us. We're in the chat. But we're down there, and the Spurs are up 5 with 27 seconds left. 28, 27 seconds left. If you have a family pass around the neck, a credential, they're like, hey, this game's over. We got the family room. You've been back there many a times.
Yes.
They escort you through, past the player's bench. You go through the tunnel to the family room for the celebration. So they're bringing champagne back there. They got cake. They got the whole shebang. And we are getting escorted down the steps, turn a corner, and we're now walking in the tunnel, and our head is to the game. And LeBron James makes a three. Then they foul, I want to say Manu or Kawhi. They both split free throws.
Mm-hmm.
So LeBron makes a three. We split a free throw. Ray Allen makes the three. And that ties it. And so with that shot, I think once that shot went down, we had to get pushed back to the seats. At the same time that we're walking back to our section, there are about 3,000 to 5,000 Miami fans that left the game, and they're trying to get back in the game. So you see people like Will Smith, I Am Legend, like the money's like, yeah, that's that we paid 40 grand for these seats. So we see people to the left trying to get back in the arena. To the right, we were just halfway to the champagne room.
Right.
Chris Rock, champagne room. I'm ready.
Yes.
And at that point, we have to go back to our seats, and Ray makes that shot. Call a timeout, try to run something for Tony. LeBron gets a block. After that was a blur. So when I have LeBron arguments, I can't remember the 2013 finals because my best friend just made 27 threes in like 5 games.
And would have been the MVP of that tournament, flat out.
Yeah. So for me, man, like growing up with Danny and watching him be a Swiss Army knife and just a guy that competes and wins and high IQ and he could play for 5 hours a day like me, to watch him average like 19 a game through the first five. And it wasn't just that, it was the way the Spurs were playing.
Yes.
If you YouTube beautiful basketball, they bring up the 13 through 17 Spurs. Man, you got 3 Hall of Famers finding my best friend, and he's knocking them things down. And I'm talking about, and he was also, him and Kawhi are guarding arguably the 3rd best shooting guard ever.
Yes.
And Dwayne Wade, and the best small forward ever. So once again, these eyes.
Yes.
These things right
You're
here.
there.
These things right here. Okay? When I say he's showing me the scout, and I'm like, why are you leaving Dwayne Wade open for that 19-footer?
Right.
Get a hand up.
Right.
Doc.
Yes.
The scout says leave him wide open.
Yes.
LeBron James open for a 3. Kawhi and Danny are just giving him space. I'm like, that's the best small forward ever. Why are y'all guarding him? Like, the Spurs game plan is to give LeBron and D-Wade the jumper. And I'm watching Danny and Gary Neal, Corey Joseph, Patty Mills, like the others were cooking.
Right.
And to watch him to watch them lose that championship over a box out broke my heart. Because it went from Magic Johnson and Jalen Rose saying, right now, Danny Green is a 2013 Finals MVP. I'm thinking about the books he could write, the TV shows he could do, the brand he could have. Like, I'm already making the calls in my head to help this guy become a legend. And then I get snatched away because of a Ray Allen backpedal. I swear to God, I thought the back of the heel touched the sideline. I'm watching the replay like this. I'm hoping the toe was on the line like Kevin Durant. And to be honest with you, the following year, when they won it, was that much sweeter because I watched the old Tim, old Tony, old Manu.
Tim Duncan, Tony Park, Manu Ginobili.
Talk about point per margin. They won in the gentleman's sweep by an average of 19 and a half a game. So pure dominance. And I think part of my problem being a Knicks fan is you taught me in a business mindset.
Yes.
In a business aspect, no sports involved, no excuses. Undersell, over deliver, be a man of your word, right? And you know, your actions will do the work.
Yes.
When you win by an average of 20 a game, that's what it is. But on the other side of it, as a fan, you know, I can't justify losing.
It's too hard for you to weather the pain.
It is.
All right. Spurs 13. They win
14.
in 14. They win in 14. 13 they lose. They win in 14. Let's go to this moment. Toronto Raptors win. I call you about this time.
Yeah.
And you're headed to the parade.
Yeah.
Tell me what you said.
Oh man.
FaceTime.
I had to call you. I had to call you because you know, shout out to the city of Toronto. Been doing basketball camps up there since 2008, 2009 with Danny at a college, Camp Olympia. You know, I was a former Globetrotter in Washington General, so I was able to talk to the kids and help them with their game from that lens of entertainment and fun and tricks. And Danny talked about his career with the championships. And so him being a Raptor 10 years later was like, you know, family already set up there. We had a buddy, Darren Duncan, that played pro ball up in Canada, played semi-pro ball. So it kind of had the infrastructure set just to do camps. We were working on a camp the entire time Danny was up there. He had got traded with Kawhi Leonard for DeMar DeRozan like in the middle of the night. I remember calling Danny like, hey, the trade just happened. Like it was early in the morning, and so it was very emotional. He's closer than ever to New York. He's a 45-minute flight away, but also that team was rocking. Even their journey through the finals, I thought the Bucks would get him.
Yeah,
and they beat Giannis and
big
those
shot
boys.
Kawhi.
I thought the Sixers would get him. That's Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler, J.J. Redick, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and for Kawhi to make that shot. So when they get to the finals, it's like, oh, okay, and it's Golden State. And they match up very well. The way the Raptors were, I think Danny made all defensive team or was runner-up. No, he made the three-point contest that year, but was still a candidate for making all defensive. So watching the scout of how they lined up, and unfortunately KD goes down, Clay goes down, the Raptors bring the first one to the country. I didn't realize that Canada's bigger than the U.S. geographically, but there's less people because of just how it's built, like a lot of swamps and mountains and all that stuff. So the geography of it, there are 40 million people in Canada, the whole country. You probably have more than 40 million in just New York, Texas, and California alone.
Absolutely. Easy.
So when you think about 40 million people, 10% of that is 4 million. 10% of the country was in Toronto. And we're up there. He won it in Golden State. And then they flew back to Toronto. I was already waiting for those guys, and we did the bus that day. It was great. And it took 2 hours to cover a mile and a half.
2 hours
to cover a mile and a half.
So New York, get ready for this. 2 miles.
From the Raptors practice facility to where the actual presentation was, where the players addressed the fans, probably 2 or 3 miles, and they had 5-6 cases of champagne. I'm thinking of my homies right now. Shout out to my guy John and Amjad and Harrison, because they were just down in the champagne like we're wrestlers. You got fans throwing beers on the bus. Danny doesn't drink beer.
Yes.
So they're like, give us a Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Danny's like, you got some milk? And it was just like, I'm like, I got to drink this beer for you, man. You can't do this to the fans.
So slow that story down. That's the moment on stage. A fan, as I remember it, clean me up.
Yeah.
A fan, Danny's on stage.
Yeah.
A fan gives him.
No, he was on a bus.
On the bus.
And the fans were throwing beers out of their book bag.
Right.
So to compare this to New York, I called you. You're in the office, and I'm FaceTiming you in Canada. Like, you got to see this. You got to see this. And we have a screenshot somewhere. But I called you later, and I said, Dad, if the Knicks ever won a championship, the city is not built infrastructure. Like, you have 4 million people. There was all kind of paraphernalia. There was some Willie Nelson out there. There were some beers. There were some hippies. No one got hurt. In my mind, I'm like, and I always said Toronto's the cleaner version of New York City. Like, just the streets are clean, the people are nice, the windows are clean. It's multicultural like New York City. So I don't think that Knicks fans, if you just blocked it from like 14th to 42nd, just block it 30 blocks.
Okay, just 30.
The 14th to 42nd, and you just block that off, people aren't getting home safely because Knicks fans are nuts. And this is when I knew our karma was bad. We beat Boston last year.
Right.
And my one memory, and you were with those fans. You're a grandfather of 4. And you're out there with some scoundrels. These guys picked up the worst New York City trash can you could find and threw it at a Boston jersey.
Yes.
A Boston person wearing a jersey. And I said, I've been around. I played in Europe.
Yes.
I've seen some things in the crowd.
Yes.
I've never seen fans pick up a trash can and throw it at a Boston Celtic fan. Take that with you back to Boston.
That happened.
So, like, it's a weird place psychologically to be. I want the Knicks to win for you. I want my grandchildren to see Pop won a championship as a child and as an old man. That's great. On the other side of it, I pay property tax in New York. We just bought a new home.
Congratulations.
We're selling a home. So on a property tax level, and my friends bought property in New York. We write the home insurance in their houses. So from a professional and a personal level, I don't think the city is ready for a championship. They could prove me wrong. If they do, it's going to be like Purge.
Oh
you will be locking your gates outside your house. Like, we want it, but do not destroy my
No.
property. We're not putting in a claim.
There's a couple of things I've never done in New York, and when we win, I still won't. As much as I've done in the city, shout out to all the agents that came to the top of the rock with me for the summit earlier this year. Shout out to every Broadway show. Shout out to MSG. But when the Knicks win, not if, when they win, I will not go to the parade. I'll let the young people.
I want you to share a story. Your favorite player ever invited you to dinner. Tell them about your 50th birthday. So a couple years after I graduated college, one of my wife's really good friends, her college teammate, Gianna Smith.
Thank you.
Shout out to G. G worked for the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
She did, at the time, I want to get it correct, she did pregame and postgame experiences for fans.
Yes.
I Facebook her. G, my dad's the biggest Knicks fans ever. 50th birthday's coming up. Is there anything I can get, for a discount to put this guy in the building? And G delivered, man. Shout out to G. You were able to get to that game. We got there about an hour early,
Mm-hmm.
and you met, if my memory serves correct, Larry Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
John Starks.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, man, he was the big man. He got game. Did this?
John Wallace.
You met John Wallace. And then at the end of the game, Al Houston.
Yes.
And I think he was a VP or GM at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But we get you in the back, and Gianna escorts you all the way to meet Walt Clyde the Glide Frazier, Mr. Cool. And this is the funniest moment I've ever had in my life, because I'm just getting, at the time, my BlackBerry ready. I haven't had an iPhone. I'm getting my BlackBerry ready to get a perfect picture of you and Clyde. And, Gianna was like, hey, Mr. Spann's birthday is today, so we're just, a special moment. And he was like, well, my birthday's coming up.
March 29th.
And you knew his birthday like that. And the room just stopped like, oh, this is like past fanatic. And Clyde was smooth with it. Clyde was like, hey, young fella, even though you're 50, calls you young fella. He said, I got the restaurants across the street. Come on over. We'll get some shots up, and try today's special and get Clyde's drink, right? And I thought that was the best moment. But I also walked away and I said, Dad, I think you're in a better life situation than your favorite player ever. And I think that in itself is dope, to meet your favorite player who announced for the Knicks and was the last guy to deliver a championship. I think that was interesting.
No, it was more than interesting. My heart is full as you tell that story. That's an MSG moment that I never had before. Thank you for that birthday present. It's priceless. I was thinking about the things we shared and what we didn't share. We didn't put any pictures up of that. We didn't put any pictures up of when we had a chance to play at the Garden. You, Nico, and Trey were actually playing a little bit of pickup.
Yep.
You tried to catch a picture of me making a shot. It never went in. But
And what's funny is, if anybody's ever seen a Long K and Polly with Sandy Lyle,
Lyle.
that seems like a spoof.
Yes.
And people would think that guy would never play like that. Well, what's funny about your game was I thought you were a great defender. You were a great defensive player. You had great passing lane anticipation. You were a heck of a shot blocker. You would always do the swipe block. I took that from your game. And you just hustled, man. You were the perfect defensive guy to study because the offense was so bad. And that's because your only goal was to do a Clyde Frazier fake to somebody and then throw it up or throw a no-look.
Yes.
So, audience, I just want you guys to know, growing up in Chicago, my dad would wear Knicks paraphernalia. He checked the ball up, and his first decision was a no-look pass to someone who wasn't cutting.
Yes.
His idea of offense was start the game with a turnover. And then when your teammate looks at you and goes, what the hell were you thinking about? He went, now you see where I'm going with it, right? You see me now? Next time it's going to be there before you see it. So growing up, watching people go, this guy's crazy, and watch you get kicked off of pickup games because of your Knicks jersey, your no-looks. I think this is a special team. I think you got Jay Brunson, you got Carl Anthony, and I think that's the best Batman Robin left. You have a defender like OG Anunoby and Josh Hart like yourself. So whether the Spurs win it and they have those big guards, we have the 3 and Ds for the Knicks. I think that Jalen Brunson's sacrifice to not take the bag.
Yes.
For a purist like myself,
yes.
my older age, once again, my beard is just as gray as his. I dyed this an hour and 8 ago. And it'll look like that in 2 weeks. For me being an old man, a guy like Brunson to play with his best friends from college, coach under his father, and also take that kind of pay cut. That man was due for north of $250.
Yes.
$250 million. He said, I'll take half. Give me $130. He makes less money than Harkenstein.
Unbelievable.
Fans don't know that Hark left to OKC for 3-year 88, 3-year 89, which is about 30 a year.
Right.
Jalen makes a couple million under that.
Yes.
But for me, he's going to be legitimized in New York City forever. What's really hard is how much, when you think of the Knicks and modern day Knicks, from your Pat Ewing, it was Carmelo Anthony for me.
Yes.
So Carmelo came to the Knicks when no other free agent would, in his prime.
Right.
Amari was there.
Yeah.
So Amari, Carmelo, the JR,
shout out to Melo, somebody else you've done business with.
Raymond Felton. That was the closest, J Kid, Prigioni. So I thought we had a vibe. So the fact that right now, Carmelo Anthony being one of the legends of my generation, and the score that Melo was, and I'm happy to see Cayenne pick up, we're talking about legacy and family and father-son. But the fact that, the Nuggets won't recognize Melo, and now Joker's been doing Joker stuff in the number 15. The Knicks no longer look at Melo as Melo because of what Jalen's doing right now. And then his name Melo, they're trying to give that to LaMelo Ball currently.
Unbelievable.
So this is a change of the guard, I guess, for the young guys. It's a different NBA. With Shai Gilgeous at the helm and the amount of free throws he gets. But I know that the Knicks are prepared for whoever comes out, whether it's the Spurs or OKC.
So let me ask you a question.
Yep.
Last team that did something like this was Golden State. In the beginning of the Golden State run, we're watching the game on Thanksgiving, and you walk away early.
Yeah.
You said, Dad, this is over, and nobody can beat them. It's the beginning of their run.
Yeah.
And they were chasing people, and you couldn't catch up. As a player, coach, savant of the game, regardless of the competition, the way the Knicks are playing now, offensively and defensively, can anybody catch up?
No, because of how they're built. We talk about foundation all the time, right? Like I said, looking for a home. You've actually been in some of the new home we purchased, and we talk about the foundation and getting a survey and all that stuff. You start with JB, who is, to me, closest thing to Allen Iverson. Has some Dame Lillard in his game as a lefty. But JB controls and dictates pace.
Okay.
And no one can speed him up. No one can slow him down. So you got a guy like JB. I asked you a few years ago, Sixers have Joel, Nuggets have Joker, and then Milwaukee has Giannis, and AD was the Lakers. Who did the Knicks have as a big? Julius just wouldn't cut it. I wanted Carl years ago, but then I was mad at Carl from Minnesota. But now Mike Brown unlocked Carl. What do I mean by that? Carl's the best three-point shooting big man by number in NBA history.
Right.
So when you have a guy like Carl who shoots the three at that clip, and he's in transition, he's rebounding like a monster now. He's starting to breaks, Kevin Love style, looking for the outlet primarily, so that leads to our fast break points. Carl's getting more assists. But then Carl in the trail is dangerous because if you don't have a hand up on a 7-footer, 4 steps across half court, he goes from shot fake to drive. You got to stay home on McHale. Josh Hart shot 40% this year. OG shot almost 40 this year. JB's Mr. Clutch. We put Carl in an ISO situation, making decisions. When you slow it down in the half court, we got 3 stops in a row. We haven't made a shot. And now they're running a flex, which is a 4-out. Carl stepping out, and now him with the long arms and his vision. I didn't know he could pass like this.
Right.
So for Mike Brown to sit down and go, hey, what are we missing from getting out of you that we haven't offered you? Carl, let me pass that thing.
Yeah.
And from there, he probably never had that conversation before with Tibbs or anybody else.
Right.
Carl leading the team in assists and
Insane.
rebounding and playing defense. Now you're bringing in Mitch, who does his thing. In offensive rebounds, Mitch creates 5 to 7 extra opportunities. Those reloads I told you about.
Yes.
And then you look at the bench with a guy like Alvarado, who can dominate the game defensively. Because now when I'm the opposing point guard and we get a defensive rebound or they score, I got to watch out for Grand Theft Auto. He's just running people's pot. And that's so New York.
Yes.
Like everything about
1,000.
Alvarado, he's a chopped cheese. He's a fitted. He's Tim's. He's a Subway. He's hopping the Subway turnstile.
Yes.
So to see Grand Theft Auto on the defensive side, and he's playing great, man.
Yes.
A vet like Jordan Clarkson, who's a 6th man of the year, coming steady Freddie. I like Landry Shamet as he played with Doc Rivers for the Clippers.
Yes.
And then you're coming in with, just so many guys that
Deuce.
can impact the game. Deuce. And then I was watching some film. I'm watching some film on what they did during the Cup game. Tyler Kolek is nice.
Oh, Tyler Kolek is very
Tyler
nice.
Kolek was I think he had like 17 points, 5 assists when we beat Wemby in the Cup.
Yes.
So all the personnel 1 through 10 is a star in their role.
Yes.
They know exactly what they're getting. The scariest part is when we're up 15-20 and the bench comes in.
Yes.
Because our bench is outscoring the other bench 20 plus. So it doesn't really matter how you get it. Mike Brown and this current Knicks have mastered in a way that there's no wasted minute in a 48-minute game.
Yes, which is very hard to do.
Jalen gave the ball up as far as usage rate.
Yeah.
You want to save that guy for dessert. Pause. Right? You got your app, you got your entree, you got a little wine or some coffee, and you got to bring it home. And so to keep him
Leadership.
fresh.
Leadership. I'm sorry. How hard is it? You played with the leading scorer in the country.
Yeah.
And in order for y'all to get to the ESPN game, you become MSG player of the game. In order to get there, shout out to Kiki. Kiki had to give up something that he was great at, dominating the ball and putting your hand a little bit.
And it took 5 months of hell in practice guarding him to prove it. Seniors referencing Kiki Clark, on the coaching staff at St. Peter's, was a director of operations, NCAA Hall of Famer, MAC Hall of Famer. I apply a lot of your lessons without you giving me credit for even listening to it sometimes. And in 7th grade, you said, Doc, you're not going to be that tall. I'm 5'11", 6 feet. You're going to be about 5'11", 6 feet.
That terrible pursuit of happiness speech.
Yeah. You gave me this pursuit of happiness speech. But it worked because I would only study D1s who had the shortest guy take the most shots.
Mm-hmm.
So I found Keidron Kiki Clark by design of your madness. And he led the nation in scoring back-to-back. He listed at 5'9". He has grown since his freshman year of college. I want to correct y'all. Keidron Clark is not 5'9", 5'11 and a half. The right shoes, he's 6 like your boy. And Kiki averaged 26, 27, was on pace for 3,000 points. And so I told myself, if they double this guy, I get to play 4-on-3.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm one of the fastest guards in the country,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just speed. I went to St. Thomas More. Shout out to Jerry Quinn, home of Ed Cota, UNC, Andre Drummond, Quincy Doobie, great NBA player. And Jerry Quinn validated and said, everybody, the ball moves faster off the pass and the dribble, except if Kevin Spann has it. So give Kevin the ball. Everybody move. He'll break the press by himself.
Yes.
So if you get that kind of prep coach to validate your speed and they're doubling Kiki, I had a chance to play the Draymond role, to be honest with you.
Yep.
Because now I get to, make decisions as a scorer first, but an exceptional passer second, but also understanding what the game needs. Right? Maybe we're up 17 and I don't need to shoot right away because we're buying time. But
right.
At that point, so when you think about the Knicks, Carl being your offensive guy, Jalen Brunson becomes a better screener. Mm-hmm. And you've now seen those actions where Alvarado sneaking a layup and JB sneaking a layup. As a player, it messes up the other coach's scheme when the best player you're planning to stop becomes the best screener. Wow. So guarding Keidron Clark in practice, we go boxing 1. Right. Kiki starts setting screens, and now 6'8" guys are getting open layups. We're like, what the heck? We're stopping this guy, but that guy, and I had to realize he's pulling gravity. So when they say Steph Curry has gravity, 4 guys are looking at Steph when he doesn't have the ball. Right. That means his 4 teammates got to figure out how to get a bucket.
He's pulled all of their attention. So we're all looking at Steph, and it's happening.
JB's giving the ball up to Cat. He's going to nail Josh Hart's guy for a screen. Josh is a pretty good athlete. OG's a pretty good athlete. So when those guys are coming off JB's shoulder with pace, the guy guarding JB has to show for a second. Let me bump him. Let me elbow him, slow him down so my guy can get back on track. So now the other guy's running. The help is running. Now Jalen's getting the ball back with no one there. Carl's following with a ball screen. Call God, right? Call God. That's what, because now I got a jumper. I'm coming off Cat's screen. Now Cat's guy got to guard me. Now we can dance. Right. Get the leather shoes out. So Mike Brown being able to create micro ISOs off movement, juxtapose that with James Harden. I've had to argue with one of my former players I've coached. I was the youngest college coach in the country. I got a chance to coach some great talent. I had a kid named Andy Laurent. Right?
What up, Andy?
Andy Laurent, one of your favorite players. You cursed Andy out of the summer league game. I said, Dad, I'm a college coach now. We can't do this to the kids. But Andy Laurent's a James Harden fan. And I said, what does James, what does Luka, what does LeBron, what do those guys do when they give the ball up? When LeBron gives the ball up, he's standing. So his guy is standing or could pinch help. When Luka gives the ball up, he's standing. James Harden won analytically, but lost in 4. Because when James Harden gives the ball up, there's no movement, and the defense can now set, and the eyes are always on you in front. But Mike Brown opening up the court, allowing Josh Hart to make great decisions in transition. Mikal has been aggressive with his mid-range, putting pressure on the paint. If you go zone on the Knicks, Mikal and Josh are great flashers because now they're trapping Jalen at the top. Jalen pocket passes. They're turning, and it's 4-on-3. I got a lob threat and Mitch. I got shooters like Carl, OG, and Mikal. Call God. Like, there's nothing you can do. So this is a weird place for me to be because logistically the Knicks are the best team left. Yes. I'm carrying 40 years of pain. Right? With every decision. I've seen the Knicks smoke things in ways that nothing has ever been smoked before. From Pat Ewing's layup to John Starks to Allen Houston to Steph Marbury. Charles Smith. So I'm trying to shake loose of this. I'm trying to let the drug you're trying to pitch to me, I'm trying to let it work. It is literally counterintuitive, but depending on the matchup, I think whoever comes out of the West is going to be banged up. OKC's missing Jalen Williams and A.J. Mitchell. The Spurs, if they survive it, they win 2 in a row with all the things they've done in their history. If Tim Duncan and D-Rob come back, you're still missing a healthy De'Aaron Fox, who's all your experience in dictating pace like JB. And you're missing a young Dylan Harper, explosive kid, played at Rutgers, loved the kid a lot. He's banged up,
Let's talk about that. I was talking with Bernardino, my producer, before the show. Physically, when you're banged up, how can you recover? First, let's talk about the Spurs and OKC, those minor nagging injuries. What are they doing with their bodies between games to try to get ready to play tonight? We're recording this on a Thursday. There's a game tonight.
Yeah.
OKC Spurs game 6. OKC is up 3-2. What is their routine like today? What are the guys doing at this time?
You've been there before. You know,
Yes.
you came down that when the Villanova
That Final Four weekend.
that
We saw the
Final Four
Final
weekend
Four.
when-
2 games you took me to.
Yep, when Jalen Brunson won. So in that mode, you see that those guys do a lot of ice, right? When you play, your blood vessels open up, a lot of blood flow. That's where your muscles run warm. I'm feeling warm right now. After the game's over, you got to get into the ice to close those blood vessels to slow down the swelling and inflammation, right? So the things you like to eat, Ben and Jerry's, Chinese food, bacon, egg, and cheese, pizza, those things cause inflammation that causes soreness. As an NBA player, their diet is very strict on replacing a lot of electrolytes. You need your coconut waters, your fats, your carbs, avocado, your carbs, rice pasta, your proteins, huge depending on the blood type. So their diet, their ice bath exposed, cryotherapy. Your youngest Trey, my little brother, was a great football prospect, and Trey would do cryo chambers to close those blood vessels. A lot of massages, a lot of stim, because you're trying to control the muscles from spazzing out. These guys run 5 to 7 miles a game. So things like bananas and avocado, potassium really helps them with that balance. And then also Flowtopia. You know, shout out to my guy, James, who runs Flowtopia in Huntington, which we're moving to. They do cryo chamber treatment where they go into a really dark place and they put the things on their eye and they float. They float in magnesium salt. So if you go to like the Dead Sea in the Middle East, people float there because it's so salt saturated. That salt helps you in recovery. And then when you're playing in front of 20,000 every 48 hours and you've been to those games, imagine concentrating on a free throw and you got 20,000 going nuts. That dopamine. After a game, you got to get that dopamine down. What does that mean? Think about gambling. You go to the casino, your number hits, you turn 50 into 1,000. On a roller coaster. You know, your kid makes a game-winning shot. That feeling times 1,000. So it's like caffeine times 1,000. To get down from playing in that kind of environment, you got to kind of go to a dark place, a dark room, no lights, get your rest, keep your heart rate low. That's the biggest thing too, is how do I monitor my heart rate? Not give too much too early in a game, have enough to give at the end. So it's very mental and it's very in the moment. Yesterday doesn't exist, tomorrow doesn't exist. What the mistake I made 8 seconds ago, it never happened. The shot I'm gonna make in 10 seconds.
You have to have a short memory.
Yeah.
All right. You're the role player. You're the coach of the Knicks right now. You have a week off. What does their preparation look like this week? Are we practicing real hard? Are we doing small things? What are they working on during this week that the average person watching this podcast doesn't know? What do the days look like to get ready for next week, for next Wednesday?
That's going to depend on how many years you've been in the league, like where your body is as well. So if you have guys at 65%, you know, OG's fresh off a hammy, but he also just dunked Strus in the rim. So OG's plan is probably going to be different than JB's plan. Guy like Carl who's banged up. Carl's plan is going to be different because I need him more mentally and just cleaning stuff up. You know, let's look at the shots you've missed in the last 10 games. Let's get to those spot shots and make 75, 80% in practice. Let's look at some of the defensive things and see how we want you to cover an area so there's less movement if the play breaks down. So there's a lot of film involved. I want to say they get with the coaches. Guys that the Deuce McBrides of the world. Deuce had a huge game versus the Sixers to close them out. I think Deuce had like 26. So a guy like Deuce, a guy like Shamet, a guy like Clarkson, those guys are so important because we don't know what's going to happen to the starters. So a great coach is pray for the best. My top 5 guys go. Prepare for the worst. Something happens to Josh, is Shamet ready? Something happens to OG, is Deuce ready? Something happens to JB, is Alvarado ready? So watching film with those guys against both of oppositions, it's really the familiarity. So the things that if the Spurs win 2 in a row, Wemby's going to take away things that the Knicks were good at. Okay. We got to prepare for this floater, this paint touch, this reverse kick out, all the action. So the film is priority, and then also the offenses you run. What worked when we played? I think they're 0-2 versus OKC, and they're 2-1 versus Spurs. What worked? What didn't? All right, how do we create this mismatch? How do we get JB with Hart guarding him with 8 seconds left? So what actions work, what actions don't? They're going to pick JB up full, right? That slows his pace down. Even though he's not the fastest guy in the world, you're not going to rip him, but he could be old school Mark Jackson and bringing the ball up. That's going to chop off time that we don't have to get into our action. So I would say the Knicks right now, we're trying to develop secondary and third ball handlers to keep them fresh. They're probably looking at Cat because Cat has the ability to settle sometimes. And so with OKC having smaller guys right at the line, because you take Chet out or you have Hart guard Cat, paint's open.
Right.
So we got to put a guy on Cat that can guard his drive and his shot. So there's familiarity. I see a lot of film, a lot of treatment, spot shots. They're doing rehearsals, like let's walk through and get these things half speed. But if you're a lower minute guy, you could probably do a 4-on-4 that you've seen with the Spurs. Like,
yeah, you took me to that. What most impressive? You've shown me behind the curtain in games and shown me things that the average fan doesn't get to see.
You've seen James Harden warm up. You've seen
I've
Russell
seen
Westbrook
them warm up. That was like two players I like a lot. Watching them warm up.
You saw Mo Cheeks out there with Russ helping him out.
Some of it was brutal.
Yeah.
Like the inability to make a shot with no one guarding
you. And that's
you.
55 games in. You know, we watched in late March. That's probably 2 weeks for the playoffs. And you get to see how guys are physically, where Harden probably didn't miss, but he didn't do a lot of running. Russ is a better athlete. Russ probably did a lot of movement stuff and floaters, but a standstill shooter, you weren't impressed. So every NBA player is different during different parts of the season.
So, business. Very specific roles. One of the things I learned is that in watching that preparation, they only work on stuff that they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
If you're a shooter, you're taking shots not from everywhere, but from your designated shots.
Yeah.
If you're mid-range, you're only mid-range. If you're a dunker, only dunkers. In business, sometimes people try to do too much. So you run the team when you're not on leave right now. How important is that for a business person to be very specific in identifying strengths on their team and to make sure they operate in their roles?
Yeah, we learned that from the books we used to talk about and read. The Jim Rohns, the 7 Habits of Highly Successful, Stephen Covey books. Successful people are very intentional and deliberate. So when you understand your skill set, I think the Knicks, when it's about infrastructure, OG Anunoby, I think, was a defensive player of the year, possibly a 6th man of the year, and an NBA champion. OG's our highest paid player, probably has the 4th or 5th usage rate on the team. Wow. There's no ego.
Right.
Carl is from the New York, New Jersey area. Him being back home and having that support that he probably didn't have in Minnesota.
Yeah.
That's huge. JB and his dad and his 2 friends and the freedom that Josh has, right? Josh said it, I have no ego. Right. Josh Hart could hurt you scoring 5 points a game. He could hurt you scoring 25 points a game. And he's willing to do both. I love what Mike Brown did where Josh didn't play the 4th quarter in game 1.
Right.
And nobody said anything.
Right.
How many other guys in Josh's role and usage rate would have a problem with that? Josh also played the whole game in game 2 and had 26 points. So that lets me know that their communication, but their interpersonal communication. I can go high with you. I can go low with you. Kev, you that dude. Hey, mother father, pick that up. I can go both places with you, and you know I'm coming from a place of we know what we're here for, right? And also their age. Everybody in New York is at a serious age in their career where it's like 26 to 32, give or take. I think Jordan Clarkson's the oldest guy. So these guys are college. They have college years. They've all made sacrifices. Could they make more on a bad team? Yeah. Could they make less on a good team? Yeah. But they're all in the age of, hey, we could really run the money, but also the relationships we have in New York City, our dentist, our accountant, our chef owner, our wine expert, our interior design, our fashion expertise. Everybody.
By the way, you look good. You look
good. I
good.
Appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Everybody in New York knows that if we deliver a championship in '73, we'll never pay for another cup of coffee again. So I think the longevity of what we can do in 40 years as a New York Knicks champion, that valuation is so different than what's my next 3-year, $12 million bag looking like somewhere else.
Right.
If I average an extra 3 points, there's nobody on the Knicks that's going to break from the beautiful team basketball they're playing. Right age, right time in their life, right experience. I heard Mike Brown show some film of Halliburton dapping everybody up after the Pacers won the series. I love a coach like that.
Yeah.
And he said, how did you feel? Jalen, how did you
Put
feel?
you back in
front of the room.
Put you back
right?
in that moment.
Josh, how'd you feel when Halliburton did? Jalen, how'd you feel? And then you got to make a man look at some pain.
Right.
And now when I watch the Knicks in a game, they don't get too high.
Mm-hmm.
They're up 15, like we got to make it 25.
Mm-hmm.
20, we got to make it 35.
Run them out.
So when you run them out, it's because you're operating from a place of pain,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're not operating from a place of happiness.
Right.
Even coaching high school kids, I've coached college kids.
Shout out to Chaminade. Shout out to
Chaminade High School. Been at Chaminade 2 years now. Great players across the board, man. Shout out to Kyle Dillon. One of our top guys. He made All Long Island. 1,000-point scorer. He'll be playing at Wesleyan. And Mike Weedy, another one of our seniors. Mike's going to prep. He's playing Crown basketball. Those two guys are shutting it down. We got a lot of guys coming up looking forward to. But even when I train my guys, what's the pain we're working from?
Mm-hmm.
And we have some pain coming from this past year that we'll be looking forward to take out next year. But you need it. You need it in the journey. You need to know you have to master losing before you can master winning.
All right. Joy and pain. Closing comments to New York fans. We're experiencing incredible joy. I haven't even processed the sweep. I haven't processed it. There is cautious optimism, real cautious optimism. Closing comments, speaking to the New York Knicks fan, joy and pain.
Remember the first VHS you gave me?
Yes.
What was that VHS?
Spectacular Guards.
And who was the guy in the 70s with the floppy socks, played for his dad, Press Maravich at LSU?
Pete Maverick.
And I remember Pete Maravich. I'm going to give you some guys and lead up to how I finally feel. Pete Maravich averaged 44 a game in college without a three-point line. And I loved his stuff in the past. I caught him playing versus Clyde Frazier and Earl the Pearl Black Jesus Monroe and gave him 60 without a three-point line. So from Pete Maravich to Michael Jordan to Kobe Bryant to Steph Curry, I have an opportunity to be a Knicks fan if they could figure out SGA.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's the next combo guard, 6'6", 6'7", averaging 15 free throws a game. And if I do root for the Knicks, it's because I want to stop SGA.
Okay.
Right? And so I think that if the Knicks win it and SGA can get shut down, there's a shot. So I'm going to be rooting for the Knicks in a defensive coaching and a strategic philosophy. Things I see might end up in Mike Brown's notes. I don't know. But I'm going to be able to look at it through the eyes of Josh and Mikhail and OG and Jalen and Deuce. I'm right there with y'all every slide. Let's shut this free throw merchant down. I'm sick of it.
Yes.
And if we could shut down OKC, because I don't think the Spurs could win back-to-back just where they are physically. But if the Knicks win it, man, like I said, I'm the happiest for you. I think the word obsession is something I learned from you. If I could be half obsessed about anything and loyal, as you've been to the New York Knicks, I'll be okay in life. I think I'll be okay in life.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin, Doc Spann, my namesake, my firstborn, basketball savant, leader of many things. Hope you got a lot of value about all the jewels, all the gems that he dropped today. Tune in tonight, Game 6. If you're watching at a later date, we'll already know who's in the finals. And if you're watching it later when it's probably released, we should already be celebrating the Knicks' third championship. That being said, we open with an attitude of gratitude. We close with an attitude of gratitude. Thank you, and thank you for tuning in today. Thank you in advance for all of you that are clicking on the button right now, the subscribe and the notification button. And always thank you to our sponsor, B-File Systems. Until the next time we share time, remember, we make AI easy. Peace.